All right. What's going on, everybody, and welcome back. We got Kristianer in the bottom left side of the map, GgMaChine in the top right. It is going to be Washout, and this is not only played on the new patch. This was played just one day before they hotfixed the patch to change Zerg Lava. So people were telling me that Protoss is terribly weak, Zerg terribly broken, and I think the results did seem like Zerg was pretty powerful. Protoss has obviously had the biggest disruptions to how you're supposed to play Protoss, to the point where I'm really unsure about Protoss's state and how you're meant to be playing in certain stages of the game. And for Kristianer here, playing against GgMaChine in the Rotti&Rexy Cup, which was the replacement for the Monday Night Weekly this week, it is going to be interesting to see how they both play, because I think Kristianer has an uphill battle. Kristianer, a player who loved doing a lot of cheeky strategies, a lot of clean timing attacks, but a very aggressive and a very build order focused Protoss, and a player who did have a deep run. This is the semi-finals. The fact that he made it this far was already very good. And of course, just hours after this, like I said, Blizzard came and nerfed the Zerg lava production quite significantly. So that, I don't know if that makes EVP balanced. Is it still Zerg favored this way or that way? A lot of people arguing in many different regards, but it's kind of interesting to see. Now, I think one of the worst things, guys, I've just been casting a bit of Age of Empires, and there's no way in their observing software to make it drag scroll the way it does, the way I like to do it in StarCraft. And after just a few games of observing now, it's messed with my muscle memory, where I keep trying to drag in the wrong direction, and I'm like, oh no, screw you, Age of Empires, screw you. How dare you do this to me, Capture Age. I hope the Capture Age team do allow us to revert that. But anyways, muscle memory aside, we're going to be casting this and seeing what goes on. It's going to be already a disruption, forcing the third base. Gas and pool go down. This is a very standard kind of greedy build. This was not a fast gas, not a fast pool. 19 Nexus for Kristianer is very typical. And he has pulled one-off minerals onto gas, so he is clearly looking for that Stargate. So this is pretty solid. Now, let's talk about what Protoss has to do, because I really want to focus on Kristianer. GgMaChine, great aggressive player. We'll talk about his builds as well, but let's talk about the Protoss conundrum, especially on this version of the patch where Zerg lava production was out of control. As a Protoss, you get a chrono at the start of the game. You do get a very good mineral income early if you can min-max your opening. Oracles are still fantastic with energy recharge, but you're also in a situation where warp gates now cost money, so it's hard to get any sort of dynamic pressure. More than ever, I feel rushing to a third base off of an Oracle, probing nonstop, chronoing up as much as you can is absolutely essential. And sorry guys, let me just fix that. Removing our logo there from Age of Empires casting off the stream as well. Thank you very much, guys, for letting us know about that. But yeah, basically, it's this thing where you want to defend to 3 bases. You don't want to make warp gates until at least 8 minutes, sometimes later, because you get such a big boost to your regular gateway production once warp gates finish. You want to just pump out of your gateways nonstop and actually have less gateways than you would normally pre-patch. So if you would normally have 8 gateways, have 5 gateways and just have them nonstop producing instead. Problem, you can't warp in on the front. Warping in High Templar for storms, not a thing. Warping in sentries for emergency force fields, not a thing. Warping in zealots for a counterattack, also not a thing until you've made warp gates. So that means Zerg gets away with absolute bloody murder in terms of their greed. And I think what I'm looking forward to seeing is Protoss players figure out ways to do things like glaive adept pressures without warp gates. You know, can you do something like 10 adepts or 8 adepts shading across the map with the 2 oracles and still finding decent damage? Are you able to do this without having to do such a big investment? Because that's the scary thing, is Protoss players keeping Zerg's greed in check is so based off of warp gates. That's where our understanding's at. Can Kristianer find a way? Oh, he cancelled that shade. Oh, I didn't even expect that. Even I looked away. He's already got 1 drone and a bunch of Zerglings. This is really good pressure here. Nice Evo blocks for GgMaChine, but Kristianer, really great damage. But the Ling's now finally going to shut it down. And you can see that will be the end of that. That 1 adept in the Reddit points finally goes down. Well, good damage. 6 Zerglings, 1 drone, multiple Evo chambers, lots of mining time. Spores now go down, but that Oracle's already almost here. And if there isn't... Oh, there is 2 queens here. Okay. I was going to say, if there's not 2 queens here, you're screwed. Oracle's going to take a fair bit of damage. It's going to fall away right now. It's going to fade away. It's going to fall back. Extra Oracles on the way. Gas at the front gets cancelled. That's interesting. Okay, no Twilight Council down just yet. 500 minerals. No way to secure this third unless the Oracle turns on its laser. Kristianer's got to be careful. Kristianer's going to dance around, stays there and says, hey, there's no way you want to stay underneath an Oracle with those Zerglings. Secures the third, but it's not a particularly early one. And both sides are at about 40 workers apiece. So I think Kristianer's done a good job keeping the economy in pace with that adept pressure. Problem is, it feels like there's going to be a very big window now with just 2 oracles on the map. And the Twilight, the next gateway is coming in. It's going to be a while till this pays off. Stalker Warping's a great choice to get rid of the Overlord, limit the vision of GgMaChine. But GgMaChine's a very powerful, aggressive Zerg. And now that they've got their economy kind of sorted for the early game, we'll see what they go for. Just an Evo Chamber, okay. I was actually expecting Machine to go for something a bit more dynamic there. Overlord does get blasted off the beach in the back. Oracle defends the Zerglings there. 5 gateways coming in. And it is just going to be a blink. Okay, so 6 gate blink. Warpgate has been transformed already. Now, this is really funny because I really feel like the only advantage you get compared to the last patch is using those Warpgates not in Warpgate form. But this looks to me like Kristianer is just going to play this exactly like pre-patch. He is, but he's going to commit. He's just going to know that he's going to have to commit harder than ever. So this is a fake third nexus. He's not probing it. He's going to transfer probes there to make it look like he's probing it. And he's just going to go for a blink all in. And you know what? You don't need a gateway. You can warp in off the pylon now. That pylon's way too early, though. That's right underneath an Overlord. That tells you exactly what's happening. But Machine going 4 base, droning right now. Machine needs to wake up. That pylon is all the tell you need. You need nothing but army and defense on the front lines. Hydra Den should be going down. Oh, wait, he's not even got a lair. He's not even got a lair. He's up 22 workers right now. Unconscionable greed here from the Zerg in this game. GgMaChine now holding down the Zergling key, but no Roach Warren, can't make Ravages. Needs to make Spines. Honestly, I think Spine Crawlers on this high ground, anything to slow this advance. This is essentially a 2-base all-in from Kristianer, but Machine also sleeping on his scouting, does not know that that's a fake 3rd base. And the Stalkers are here, and I think Machine might have just been too greedy. He's also not pulled his Overlords back. That's why you always rally your Overlords to the back, not the front, guys. Lings come forward. Beautiful focus on the first stasis trap, but this one is going to be a real nasty stasis trap that does end up landing. The Oracles take some pretty big damage, but none of them actually fall just yet. And the Zerglings have to really mass up. As these Zealots and Adepts join in, even though they don't have any upgrades, they will still be very annoying to deal with. Still no Spine Crawlers here. No Roach Warren, nothing like that. A few Banelings mixed in could be nice against the Zealots, but that's assuming you can connect with them, and that might be a bit of a long shot. The Zerglings and Queens trying to defend GgMaChine. That stasis trap getting blocked by the Stalker. This is one of the most obnoxious things that Protoss can do, is put down a stasis trap and then move a Stalker on it, so you literally cannot attack it. You can't even click on it. But even if you could, your melee units can't reach it. Hatchery on the 3rd base is going to go down. The drone's taking big damage. GgMaChine's going to take too much damage here. He's got to be careful. He gives up the base. I think that's the right call. Pull back, preserve your unit count, but no Roach Warren. And imagine how good Ravages would be against this. Overlord's also isolated on the front. Zealots walking forwards. Banelings get some good boom booms. Melee is now kicked in, and has Kristianer pushed too far? I think he has. These Zerglings could have chased a little bit further there. I think he could have trapped a lot of those Stalkers right here if he ran up and actually got like 3, 4, 5 Stalker kills. Hydras are now on the way. He's still on 3 bases mining. Kristianer now is going to probe up his 3rd. But I think this was just a bit too greedy for GgMaChine in this game, giving Kristianer a way to find some damage from what should by default be a bit of a disadvantaged position on this version of the game. Overlord goes down, Stalker's moving forwards. Yo, chat, has Hero played recently? I haven't seen a game from him since the last France tournament. That was just last weekend. So no doubt he's just back in Korea. You see him in the weekly cups for sure. Stasis trap does come down here. Lings and Hydras from both sides. And I think Kristianer might be a bit too deep in Zerg territory. These Lings need to wrap around though. Machine needs to move forward and make sure he traps some more of these Stalkers. This is a big overextension for Kristianer. And quite a lot. Oh, Kristianer just killed his own Oracle. He blinks forward into the Hydras now. If there's even 10, 20 more Zerglings here, this is lights out for Kristianer. A crazy blink forward for Kristianer. But if he gets the Hydras, that could be game-winning. The Hydras are irreplaceable. And there's not enough lava for GgMaChine. GgMaChine actually taking big damage. The Stalker commitment's crazy. Kristianer completely all in right now. A good pullback. Machine just needs to hang on. I don't know if he's been injecting He's pulled all of his queens to the front. He's got a few injects going, but he's got to try and deal with this massive Stalker commitment. These are unupgraded Stalkers, remember. There's a melee upgrade. There is movement speed for the Hydras. They've got groove spines and +1 range on the way as well. The Stalkers trying to just utilize their micro advantage, but they are so costly and so expensive. And he's trying to build another pylon on the front. Remember, there's so few probes here. Has he lost any probes? Not really. He's never transferred to that third base. This is just an extended 2-base all in that just goes. The Hydras and the Lings are still here. The Stalkers and the Zealots are still fighting on the front. Kristianer now doing that defensive micro. I actually think Zerglings are more important than Hydras right now for Machine. It's hard to say, though, because he's got money banking up, and Hydras are the more expensive unit. Drones are going to come in on the right side. Hydras moving into the concave of Stalkers, but with the drones on the right side tanking, I think that was the right move. Zealots coming in are going to be a problem. You kind of want the Queens to tank. You want the Hydras behind those Queens, but it's the other way around. Hydras on the front line, drones coming forward, and I think this is a good hold. I think GgMaChine is just barely going to survive the avalanche of Stalkers from Kristianer, and Kristianer goes for essentially a 2-base blink all in with a fake third off of some nice opening adept oracle pressure, which did keep GgMaChine distracted. And I think what I'm most shocked by is how delayed the tech was. GgMaChine's lair was incredibly late, but he manages to hold on with the delayed +1 melee Zerglings. Clutch hold for GgMaChine. I think being willing to give up the 4th and the 3rd base is what saved him there. If he tried to fight for these bases, he would have been really screwed, but by forcing Kristianer to go much deeper into his territory, set up new pylons, and push deep on creep, the Stalkers lose so much power whenever they get surrounded. All right, guys, we've got Kristianer now in the top right side of the map. Down 0-1, goes for that chrono. You want to go for that chrono about 6.5 to 7.5 seconds as Protoss, guys. Very technical opening. And he sends his probe down. Ooh, a bit too early. You meant to go for a 12 pylon with this early chrono. So you can tell Kristianer is still figuring the opening out, losing a ton of mining time here. This is actually very costly on his opening. So he's lost like 15, 20 minerals that could have been mined with that probe. It's not going to change too much long term, but definitely short term. You can see players still getting used to these openings, and you can see 12 Overlord into 13 Extractor Trick has become the standard with Zerg. Gonna have to redo my my Zerg opening video. Now, guys, is he blocking his Nexus with that? Or is that perfectly placed? Looks like it's almost blocking the Nexus, but I think it's perfectly placed. Gateway will go down on 14, and I wonder if he insta-chronos now with 50 energy, or does he wait to check it's not a 12 pull? Or 10 pull, I guess, is the equivalent. No, he does just chrono straight away. Hangs around, trying to block the expansion. You can see GgMaChine going for a 16 hatchery. 15 hatchery is generally better. And he's going to now get his hatchery so late. I don't like GgMaChine's opening. 15 hatch is a bit better because it times out nicer with your spawning pool and gas. And now his hatchery's so delayed. But he's going to go 17 pool afterwards, so it is on that greedier end of the spectrum of the builds anyway. But you'll see this pool will be done a fair bit before the other bit. Oh, I like that. He does the little popper, as we call it. A juice box, I think Americans call it, underneath. And then it instantly builds the spawning pool on top. So now the spawning pool just has a little straw sticking out the top of it, which is kind of weird and kind of adorable. Gateway and gas is there. He's only got one worker off minerals onto gas. Nexus on 19. Pauses the probe production as you're supposed to. Goes for the 19 cyber core. And then he's going to go for that second gas and pylon. So solid opening for Kristianer. Let's see how we go. Come on, second gas. Yep, so second gas, 20. Does he go for one more probe? I feel like... Yeah, he's going to go pylon first, actually. So 20-second pylon and 21-second gas is what he's doing. Some people will just drop both on the same supply, but it doesn't really matter too much. So long as you're getting those down both around 20, 21, you should be okay. And the pylon obviously takes priority so that we get on supply blocked as quickly as possible. 2 more Zerglings are building for Machine. He's going to be going out towards that third. There's still a probe hanging out. His Overlords do naturally stay in a very tight kind of defensive formation. He's got 1 Overlord on the other side of the map as well. Ling speed is on the way. I wonder if Kristianer has experimented with the non-Warpgate gateways at all. Because I understand the timing attack advantage of being able to just warp in so quickly off a pylon. Does that make up for the fact that you have to pay more? You have to pay 25 minerals and 25 gas to transform each gateway into a warp gate. I think theoretically there's more extremes here, right? As a Protoss, if you don't go warp gates, you're more defensive and kind of very... But I feel like you can do that if you play a game like the last one, your opponent's going to be much more paranoid. What if this guy just all-ins? What if he transforms all of his warp gates, throws a pylon up on the front, and then 18 seconds later, because that's how long a pylon takes, he's warping in units in 4 seconds on the front line. There's this power, man, that because I keep thinking, having to pay for warp gates is weird, and my whole mindset for Protoss is kind of, I think, a bit damaged from when you had to make your warp gate research off the gateway, and that felt really bad. So I've kind of been in a bit more of a negative mindset around my Protoss strategies, and I think looking at how much Kristianer just went full send in that last game, even though it didn't work, it was very close to working. And I think a lesser Zerg who's a little more impatient does die there. 2 spores coming down. 3rd base is on the way. Very mineral-focused build with lots of Zerglings having control, but thing is, the 3rd base doesn't have to come up this early, and Kristianer, in fact, already goes 4-gate Twilight Council before 3rd Nexus off of just a single Oracle. Is there a Robo about to go down? Kind of feels like a Robo's about to go down, but no, he's moving out to take the 3rd base. Oracle and Adepts should be able to defend that. Lings could have sniped that probe, but he didn't want to sacrifice the amount of Zerglings he knew he would have to. The drone's starting to catch up here. The extra lava production, it's not really giving GgMaChine a massive lead, but it's this delayed 3rd, which means we will now see that lead. And oh, here we go. Okay, so it's going to be, 3rd base gets delayed, but you've got 4-gate glaives. So it is going to be a 4-gate glaives. He's going to make them all warp gates, though. He's going to make them all... Okay, so yeah. So Kristianer, I think, is just basically playing this like he did pre-patch in terms of, like, warp gate usage. But you can see the 3rd base versus tech timings have been adjusted a little bit. Actually, wasn't Kristianer one of the guys who would go for tech before the 3rd base already? Maybe he's doing the exact same builds he was doing pre-patch. I really don't know how well Kristianer adapts to patches. Like, there are guys who are geniuses who adapt really quickly, very free-flowing. And there are guys who are like just do the same thing over and over and over again and optimize it until they've played it 1,000 times. I don't know which one of those is Kristianer. I mean, I know he had certain diabolical timing pushes against Zerg that, like, Raynor especially was struggling with his 2-base Immortal Archon Storm pushes, or 3-base even. Adepts are going to be shading forwards. Graves is not quite finished, but look at this. He's got a lot of Adepts over on the other side. Baneling Nest, not quite ready for GgMaChine. GgMaChine needs to make Banelings, like, immediately. He's already seen a lot of Adepts on the front. This looks very suspicious. You know the 3rd is delayed. You got to be careful about having your Zerglings too far forward, because you want to... If your Zerglings are out on the map... Oh, he sees a glimpse. He sees a glimpse. He's got to pull back and morph Banes, but he's not paying attention. Mass Adepts coming in. There we go. He's got to morph like 15 Banes here. He's going to morph... Oh, he's not got much gas. He's only got enough gas for 5. Canceling melee to make more Banelings here is I think, a must. That is so many Adepts coming in. The Queens will come forward along with the Zerglings, but he can't get a wrap around here on the wrap, and he's going to have to follow the Shade to make sure that Shade doesn't complete. The Shade completes! The Banelings were going in the wrong direction! Beautiful Shade in here for Kristianer, a crazy commitment, but the Banelings are only going to blow up that front line. They're not going to get into the center of the rest of the Adepts. Those guys are protected. The Lings are getting cleaned up, and that is just not enough Banelings. He needed to cancel melee, maybe the Hydra Den as well. If he just had enough Banelings to shut this down, he might have been okay, but now GgMaChine underestimating the Glaive Adept pressure. He is getting overwhelmed right now, and you can see the sneaky pylons, man. Sneaky pylons. Zerg players, Terran players gonna have to get better at checking for these sneaky pylons along the edges. The quick warp-ins are very, very powerful, even though there are disadvantages that Protoss has copped this patch. It's good to see Kristianer leaning into some of those advantages as well. The stasis trap does go down, freezing a bunch of those drones on that side as well. Oh, Lings are going to surround the Stalker as well. All right, Depth's trying to pull back as well. Stalker's trying to dance around. More gateways on the way. Templar Archives also. So this is interesting. Just a complete lack of Forge focus for Kristianer. You've done just catastrophic damage to your opponent. Does he still aim for a 3-base push, or is this just survival mode? It might just be survival mode for a bit. But I mean, Lingbane can't really do an excellent counter attack. Not when you've got Oracles overhead. I mean, it's only one Oracle, but still, even one Oracle can just zap down all these Banelings. I think they might run into the Stasis Trap as well, which would be unfortunate. Oh, massive Stasis. And the Lingbane has to turn away. Those are some juicy kills. Baneling's going to run in. Of course, doesn't want to let those escape to the Oracle. Going to chase these guys down. Gets a few of those. Machine's back to 60 drones, but you're up against 60 drones against a guy who's massing Zealot Archon. And I wonder if Kristianer tries to get on top here. He doesn't have charge right now, but of course, the Zerglings instantly pull away. Now going for a Zealot Archon all in into Lingbane Hydra is a little dicey. Then again, GgMaChine is building 10 more drones right now. Oh, I mean, you're playing Kristianer. This is a guy who's not... Macro is not exactly his middle name, man. His middle name is, I'm going to punch you in the face. Oh, he did cancel his Hydra Den for more Banelings earlier. Oh, that's unfortunate. You really want some Hydras to deal with these Archons. Because really what you want here is you... Oh, 6 more drones! 6 more drones! Does GgMaChine not realize? 11 more drones! He has no idea. Just bad map vision for him. He doesn't realize this is a counterattack. He didn't think Kristianer would hit him so hard. He thought Kristianer would be going Immortal, Storm, Forge upgrades. What kind of a crazy guy just makes Zealot Archon and counterattacks again immediately? Well, Kristianer does, because he loves his timing attacks. He likes to be on the front foot. He doesn't like to get stuck being defensive. Baneling's getting some good hits on the Zealots, but there's not much ranged firepower to deal with the Archons. If you can have 10 Hydras with range, the Banelings can stop the Zealots from really engaging on that. The Hydras can gun down the Archons. Suddenly, Lingbane Hydra looks really good. That's when all the pieces are together, when the upgrades are together. GgMaChine's not quite there. Kristianer is going to tie up the series 1-1. All right, guys. Kristianer in the bottom right side of the map. Game 3 now on a Rainfall. 6.5 seconds is when you want a chrono. Right now, no later than 8 seconds. Chrono! Oh, he's missed it. He's missed the chrono timing. Yeah, I don't think he knows. Yeah, he's doing it like 12 seconds, a bit late. So, guys, 6.5, 7 seconds, 8 seconds. I know one person said they wait till they have 40 minerals, then they chrono. Anything like that's fine. But he did do a much better job of sending the probe to the natural on time. And you can tell Kristianer is just figuring things out, right? He's clearly not grinded his openings or anything going into this tournament. He's kind of just figuring it out, flowing. A 12 pylon scout usually is early enough to block the 15 hatchery. Now, as a Zerg, I don't think... I really wonder where Zerg mindset's going to stand. Are they all just going to go, nah, just go for the third hatch, doesn't matter? Will some Zerg start to say, no, you should go 13 hatchery before Overlord so you can get it up before the probe blocks you and then play that open? I wonder. I feel like if most Protoss are just scouting at this timing, I would probably think about investing in the earlier hatchery. But the thing is, it's more of a cost compared to 12 worker start. Because on 12 worker start, you'll see people go like 15 hatch before Overlord. And you think, oh, that's a pretty big expense. But you've still got 14 drones on minerals. 14 out of 16. Whereas if you stop at like 13 and send a drone down, you've only got 12 out of 16 on minerals. You're leaving a lot more of that main base mineral mining on the table. So it's more of a cost. And this is one of the things that's gonna be very interesting to see how people do it. Someone in chat says, I like 16 hatch with double gas trick, says Kabuki. Does that get down before 12 pylon scout though? Is my question. I mean, everyone's builds are all over the place. So yeah, just like if you benchmark it compared to what we just saw, like what time does your hatchery go down? Because I'm wondering, like, is it ever worth rushing the hatchery specifically in this matchup if every Protoss is 12 pylon scouting? Obviously on 4-player maps, you've got a good chance of getting away with it, but on a 2-player map, I do wonder if we see the meta shift in that way, or Zergs just accept this, what GgMaChine's doing. Take the hatch on the 3rd, go for the early link speed, and defend, as players are used to from the old 12-worker start. You can see once again, same pylon into second gas timing in the main, very standard. We should see GgMaChine pull off gas. Once he gets to 88, you can start peeling them off one at a time. So you can go pull you away, or pull you away, pull you away, pull you away, yeah. So sorry, it's once you get to 88, it's the next guy that returns gas, right? That you want to pull away, because you still need those three more trips. So we have seen pros do that where they pull off and they have 96 gas and they're like, oh, wait a second, whoops. Which is kind of what I was telling him to do there through the monitor. See, the queens aren't quite synced up, but that's okay. Machine's going to spread creep from there. Inject on the 3rd usually would be standard. And gets a nice quick 3rd hatchery on just 30 supply. So 3rd hatchery, surely you go Overlord next and then Queen, yeah? Well, he's got to get Lings first. And actually, oh my. Oh my, Twilight Council's on the way. Pylon's in the corner. Oh, watch out, watch out. That Overlord does now start up after those Zerglings. You've got to be careful. As in comes Kristianer looking to poke. and prod. Another Overlord queues up. Extra Adept is on the way. This is a diagonal wall off. It's pretty weak. Very easy to squeeze through, but I think Kristianer is wanting to be so efficient on the front foot. He doesn't care. And with the second gateway, now it's a really solid choke point. 2 Adepts going to come forwards. I love the shade backwards. That's the insurance shade is what we like to call that. It's, yep, I'm only going to be in here for the 7 seconds until the shade finishes, and then we know we're teleporting to safety. Unless we find crazy damage, we want to cancel that shade at the last second. Third Queen does come in. You know, I just had a flashback to early Legacy of the Void, trying to get used to handling the Adept. When to shade, when to commit, when to cancel it. What an odd unit. You know, it's such a unique one, where I take it for granted now, because I've been using it for so many years, but I sometimes forget just how wild it was using this at first. Now, guys, if we forgot to use the Twilight Council... Okay, Glaives is coming in. It is going to be a mass gateway Glaive Adept timing attack. He sees the chrono on the Warpgate is a huge tell. You have to build a Roach-Warren right now. GgMaChine has not checked corners. That's a huge mistake. On this new patch, guys, you have to go back and look at 2013 Jadon games. He would queue up Zerglings to check every single corner. Because remember, you're not just looking for a gateway. You're checking for just a single pylon. Just one little thing. And he goes past, but he doesn't notice it. He's got to pull up there. He does spot it, but he's not noticed it. He's got to go, 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 go. He's taking a bit too long to move in that direction. Adepts are already there. It's 2 pylons. It's incredibly committed here. The Lings are a little bit slow. Roach-Warren and 16 more Zerglings on the way. The quick warp in comes. These Adepts, though, will actually struggle because they don't have Glaives yet. And the Lings are going to get, I think, a decent trade. If they can kill 2 of those Adepts, that's pretty good pre-Glaives. And then you got to pull away. Good pull away timing. Gets rid of 2 of the Adepts. Glaives is almost here. 5 Roaches on the way. No Spine Crawler or nothing like that. 2 Worker advantage for Zerg. But more importantly, that base advantage. Dark Shrine and a 3rd gas comes in behind this. Kristianer here with a sharp Glaive Adept attack off of the proxy pylon. And I was talking all about how Zerg, you've got to use the economy advantage early on. You've got to optimize your chrono boost timing. You've got to use your gateways in non-Warpgate form to utilize the huge boost of production you get, but it's only defensive, and that's the weakness, is you get stuck defensive. Kristianer is like, hold my beer! I'm making Warpgate every game. I'm going aggressive every game. I'm hitting timing attacks. I'm using the faster pylon warp in, that thing you didn't even talk about, Pig, because you're an idiot. I am just going to get in my opponent's face, and that's usually a really good way to play on a new patch, and I think GgMaChine's shocked by how hard these attacks are hitting. He's like, mate, don't you have to pay to transform these into warp gates now? Kristianer's like, yeah, but I don't need to build gateways on the front. I'm really streamlining my builds and focusing just on this one advantage, and it's paying off big time. A lot of the Adepts do start to go down. He cancels the shade. These drones need to pull away right now. There's a good Roach count, but Dark Shrine is almost there. Luckily for GgMaChine. He's not going to be able to warp in Dark Templar on the front. Machine has a chance to drone up now, but Adepts coming forward. DT's warping. If he can see this, we're on GgMaChine's camera. Does he see the DTs? He sees him. He sees him. Instantly, spores go down in the natural. He's already got one in the 3rd in the main. So he actually... Oh, he didn't even realize this was Oracles, did he? Or Twilight. He might have thought this was an Oracle build. He built spores this game, which were entirely unnecessary until now. Lair is coming in. Roaches are on the front line. They're going to take out... Oh, they don't quite take out the Adept. Adept Shade comes forwards. You know what's cute? DT's got spotted, guys. They're staying at the 3rd. Kristianer is like, cool, he's going to build spores. He's going to be paranoid. He's going to be wondering where they're coming from. Meanwhile, I'm actually just going to probe up. Takes the 3rd, gets the 4th gas. 2 more gateways on the way. Good pivot here for Chris. He's going to be making more and more Adepts. He's making more Dark Templars. He's just going to make Archons, is he? Kind of looks like he just wants to make some Archons behind this. 40 drones to 45 probes. 3rd base is so delayed for Kristianer, which is why he's got to stay in his face. He's got to keep forcing this commitment to army, because if GgMaChine's allowed to freely drone up, he will race ahead. That's why Kristianer's on the front. Remember, Ling's very weak against this. The Roaches, very powerful. We are going to see the Adepts shading on in there. They're going to go towards that main base. They cancel at the last second. That means the 3rd's wide open. Uh-oh. This is so many units, and Roach speed's only now started. Kristianer's actually doing a really good job with these Adepts. And you know what, guys? He's all inning behind it. You know what's crazy? A sane person right now would be going for a Blink, maybe Storm. No. He's making Mass Arc on Adept all in into Mass Roach. Kristianer is actually a crazy person. What is this? He's seen Mass Roach. The only way this works is if GgMaChine overcommits to drones, which he kind of is doing right now. I mean, it might work. Who knows? Lings get a surround. Beautiful surround. But seeing more adepts is in of itself a tell. He's warping in sentries. It's a sentry adept arc on all in. Oh no, GgMaChine's building more drones. He's building more drones. He can't believe what he's seeing because in his mind, there's no way this turns into an all-in. Adepts are a harassment unit. Kristianer is like, hold my beer. They're not just a harassment unit, mate. If I have this much of a numbers advantage, you are screwed. The drones barely squeeze through. The roaches need to fall back. GgMaChine sees no probes on the third. And he's like, you've done it again. No probes on the third again? What the hell is this, man? What the hell is this? He needs Ravagers to break the force fields and drop biles in this, but he doesn't have the gas for it. GgMaChine has a good roach count, but he's got to respect the shades. And right now he's like, I don't want to give up position on the front, but I also can't just like let you in my main base. This is really awkward. That Evo chamber could get focused down. The roaches do have roach speed now. They will clean these adepts up. That Evo chamber needs to get canceled. Machine with some good micro. He's going to clean this up. Some of the adepts will shade out, but a lot of them have already gone down. It's a 2-base Zerg against a 3-base Protoss. Kristianer now making charge, thinking about the next step. This game is an absolute hodgepodge. It's a bit of a hot mess. And that is, of course, the most unpredictable and fun sort of StarCraft. The Roach army kind of counters the Protoss army, but the army supply is really bad for Zerg. The economy is not looking good for Zerg either. Machine's going to go retake a third, but Blink is on the way, and Blink Stalkers will actually annihilate a pure Roach army. Main base is not half mined out, remember. The mineral change is such a big change this season. It's such a big change. This would have half mined out 1.5 minutes ago. Now it's not going to half mine out for another minute, maybe a minute and a half. Like that three-minute difference on your main base minerals mining out, so good for these prolonged aggressions. Now it also helps Kristianer because obviously losing his third, he'd be screwed on the income if his main was half mined out as well. But in these games in general, it gives players a bit more of a tail on these their economy in these sort of messy, scrappy, and chaotic situations. And it is one of the things which I just really do enjoy about the economy change. But I think it's one of the double-edged sword you have to worry about is that's every base is going to be a bit slower to mine out. And I do fear what happens when defensive maestros get their hands on this, when the turtle players get good at defending things and playing it, because in a clean game, a non-scrappy game, where those resources mine out slower, that's where things are scary. And I do fear for the Platinum League players who play in that. You guys know that section of ladder where all the Terrans just make planetary fortresses and battle cruisers? Those guys' bases mining out a little bit slower will be annoying. That being said, on the new patch, not on this version, it came out just after this, the gases will have less gas, which will weaken them, which is actually hopefully going to offset that. Stalker Sentry Archon coming in for another push. Lovely Ling count is going to cleanse the third base. But Machine back to 2 bases again. Trying to make a mass of Ravagers. And there's always a chance if you get a sick engagement, you can bring this back, especially since you've just, it's not like Kristianer's economy is very good either. You got to be really fearful of those force fields. No forge upgrades for either side. The Bile's not landing on anything. Kristianer just disrespecting it for now. You got to try and bait these force fields in the open. You got to fight up front. You can't be too afraid. He's going to start to break these force fields. Remember, this is also before the patch came out where the force fields don't get instantly broken by corrosive biles. Roach Ravager dancing in and out. Stalker Sentry rotating around. You got to try and maintain a position in the open because you don't want these force fields to trap you. Right now, that's a nice little Ravager snipe there. It's mass Roach Ravager against mass Stalker Sentry Archon. The problem is, as they max out, the Protoss army should just naturally be more efficient. Roach Ravager, very low quality the longer a game goes. He wants to bile the army, but he also wants to save some biles for the force fields. And that's a really tough position to be in. Roach Ravager coming forward again, gets himself a sentry. A few roaches are going to go around. They could be very annoying. Stalker Sentry taking some big damage. The force fields are quite a nuisance. Oh, good traps on some of those roaches. Roaches do come in here. They start to kill a few of these probes. The Stalkers will warp in and deal with this. On the front, it's all about Roach Ravager against this. He's actually microing really well. Machine here trying to make a play of it, but he's not being able to afford a third base in the midst of it. So the longer this goes, the more awkward it is for him. He needs to squeeze that third in. More Ravagers are the key. He goes forwards. He drops his biles. It feels like Kristianer is taking some kind of awful trades here, and you can see that in the units lost tab, which is only slightly ahead for Protoss, but that mining third base, an absolute game changer, as both players' main bases are half mined out. The natural super oversaturated as well here. GgMaChine His biles not really landing as well in that engagement. Got to be a little bit more spread out on those biles, I think is the better way to do it. Oh, the Archon goes down. Oh, great biles. Great biles. I mean, it's a pure Blink Stalker army now, so it is a bit more agile. Forge upgrades are on the way, but I think Kristianer might be able to micro this better. You might see Kristianer go from those sloppy engagements to much cleaner engagements now that he's on a much more mobile army. Still some Zerglings hiding on this side. GgMaChine finally restarts a third base. Needs another one. Do love that he's got these poppers he's just chucking down. You want a little bit of apple juice? I can only imagine what apple juice manufactured in the Caprulu sector is made out of. Let's just say Emperor Mengsk almost certainly puts sawdust in the apple juice. There's no way he doesn't, man. Mengsk 100% would maximize profits over individual human safety. Roach Ravager, Stalker trying to hang out, fight as best they can. The Roach Ravager set up a nice concave. The Stalkers have to dodge the bile, so they do back away. Stalkers rotating around. The Roach Ravager needs to find the correct angle. Kristianer goes so deep, man. This man knows no fear. Kristianer is such a crazy guy. He's such a crazy guy, isn't he? He's such a crazy guy. But Roach Ravager off creep should not really hold a candle to Stalkers, and now he swaps to the more defensive micro. Even though it's sloppy trades, where, oh my gosh, the Roach counter. Dude, Machine gets a bunch of probes. Unfortunately, you can't really outrun the Stalkers, and those Roaches do go down. This is unironically the situation where you make Infestors as GgMaChine, guys. I know it sounds ridiculous, but Kristianer is not transitioning at all. He's just taking a 4 base and making Blink Stalkers. Infestors, legit, this is the very niche use case for randomly adding Infestors to your army against Protoss. It's when a Protoss player refuses to transition off of Stalkers and you're both in a kind of crappy economy. Like, if you've both got crap economy, he's refusing to build anything but Stalkers. Suddenly, at a certain point, Fungal to complement your Mass Ravager Roach Sling is going to be so good against these Stalkers because it stops them from blinking. You know, they blink forward like that, you land a Fungal, you kill like 12 Stalkers with 2 chained Fungals and a ton of biles, and it's amazing. But there we go, Infestation bit goes down. It might just be for Hive, but I would love to see him squeeze this gas mining out and try to do it. Down workers on Protoss just feels so bad. GgMaChine needs extreme efficiency in this game, and it's so very hard to find it. Gets himself a Stalker, not bad. Zerglings go around the right side. There's a Dark Templar there, though. Dark Templar says, oi, get away from that pylon, you dirty Zerg. Stalkers on the front, picking off Roaches. Roaches only 4 range, and they're armored units, which means Stalkers do that bonus to armored against them. Lings on the other side going in. Zealots are there. They are ready and available on that Nexus. Guys, this game is getting heckers. I love that this game has been such a poop show. And I really want to give credit, guys. Obviously, this is just because Blizzard are geniuses with their patch changes. No, I'm kidding. Just anytime there's a big shakeup, new maps, new patch, everyone's relearning things, you do get a higher instance of games like this that are just so messy and chaotic. And I think StarCraft 2 really is so fascinating to watch whenever there's been a big disruption and players are figuring things out and the games just get down into these knife fight matches. You know, it kind of gives me a feeling of like a Dark style game. Throws a Fungal. There we go. Infestor pops in the fight. Do the biles land? Yes, they do. And that's what we're talking about. Machine. Very clever choice to go Infestors. Fungal's a few Zealots in. Probably not as high value as catching the Stalkers. He does lose his 4th on the right. He's going to have to rebuild it. But dude, this is exactly what you need is Infestors plus your Ravagers. And Kristianer, I feel like it's a no-brainer to go Storm here. He's got 1,000 gas in the bank. Storm counters everything here. Feedback counters Infestors. But Kristianer right now is trying to force the square through the circle hole. And as fun as that is, it is something where it just feels like if he goes splash damage, he has this in the back. He's going to go for the hatchery snipe. No. Oh my god, he got it. Oh, a moment of inattention while GgMaChine was going for run-bys, and he loses his only mining base, really. I mean, his natural's almost completely mined out. Yes, he gets 13 probes on the other side, but he needed to be in front of that base. He can't be letting himself get bullied right now. Oh, Infestor pops out of the egg, and he gets big biles across him. But you really need to save those Infestors and get 2 consecutive biles to hold down 10, 12 Stalkers in place to kill them. Zealots running around the right. Machine, he's been trading better, but even though he keeps doing big eco damage, he's actually going to go for the 3rd rather than the 4th is where all the probes are now. There's a 5th base on the way. Templar Archives is finally coming in. That Templar Archives is the GG button. Even just Archons will spell disaster for the Zerg player. They will clean up Zerglings. They will tank really well against Ravagers. And just so many of them available off that 1400 gas. But look at this. If you can catch the Stalkers on the ledge, that could be really big. Ravagers coming. There's so many Zealots is actually a real big scary force right now. The big fungal lands in the back, but the Ravagers are kind of in the wrong spot. He actually uses Microbial Shroud instead. The Microbial works against him, against the Zealots. Oh no! Okay, guys. Oh, I mean, I think he is dead there anyway, but for those who don't know, Microbial works on both sides. So you've got to be really careful using this spell if your opponent has melee units. Even if you're using Roach Ravager against Marine Marauder, I've seen funny situations where, because Roaches already do such low damage, the Marine Marauder stim into and run into point blank range, so they're in the Microbial Shroud as well, and both sides are doing reduced damage to each other, and the Roaches and the Marine Marauder are both kind of tickling each other, and you're like, oh, this is so weird. But it's this weird thing where you actually do not want Microbial on this side of this fight at all. Only on the back of your army. Otherwise, your Ravagers are going to do reduced damage to those Zealots. And you can see with no Roaches in front to tank or anything, it's already going to be tough. So as these Zealots move in, these Zealots now are going to take half damage from enemy ranged attacks, right? So the Ravager attacks are actually going to be doing less to these Zealots as well, which really does hurt. So GG, well played. Awesome game, awesome series though. This is kind of cool. I love that this was so competitive, and I love that Kristianer has shown us a commitment to timing attacks, aggression, ways to get in under Zerg's skin. I was basically setting this series up with no idea what happened in it, talking about how Protoss has these like defensive things they can lean into in this patch, and that's really what you want to optimize around, but the fear is Zerg's just being too greedy, so how do you disrupt them? Kristianer showed us good timing attacks, good usage of the pylons with a quick warp in. I think there's a few things we've learned. Zergs are going to need to check for pylons a lot more. Protoss need to be willing to use those pylons. 25 minerals, 25 gas is not too crazy. It's not too crazy per Warpgate, right? 50-50 was pretty crazy. Having to spend like 400 minerals, 400 gas for those gateways was massive. But now it goes down to 200 for 8 gateways. And you can see that it's not quite as insane. So I really like the way Kristianer showed some dynamic aggression here. Kept the pace on GgMaChine, made this tight, made it really hard for him to play. And this is obviously, since this, there are a few changes. Not only do we have the Zerg Lava nerfed, also depths take 3 seconds longer to build. I wonder if that severely disrupts the opening. It might not sound like a lot, but 3 seconds on each of your first 2 adepts is going to slowly, it's going to cut in underneath. It's going to cut in underneath that early timing. It's going to give Zerg a little bit more freedom in the opening. And I do not know exactly what that's going to be like, but we'll see more series over the next few days, and we'll feel how it goes. Thanks for watching, guys. We'll see you next time. Goodbye and good night.